instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dangerous Podcast, where we talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
And if we can haunt, howl, or dwell in the dark, we want to talk about it. And tonight, we're still staring at the stars, gazing upward. We're going to talk about the 10 most credible UFO sightings.
Yeah, or that around. I mean, there's others, but these are the ones that, you know, we personally love, and it also, It's not the Tic Tac, because obviously that's up there. It's not the gimbal video, because that's also up there. These are these ones that have been around for a minute, and we haven't covered any of these yet, which is pretty crazy. I was going through this list, and I was like, you know what? We haven't done any of these, because any one of these on this list could be an episode.
Right, absolutely. And sometimes, though, it's good to like go over them in short form where like, you know, we go, ooh, we'll cover this later and we'll do a deep dive on it. And funny enough, too, I just saw the Republican Army of Chile just released a UFO video today.
Things are cooking south of the equator. Yeah,
I was going to send it to you, but then I was like, it could just be a fucking balloon drone or something, because the way it kind of like moves and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'll send it to you anyway. But yeah, all right, well, before we get into these crazy alien cats, we're gonna send it over to Jay for tonight's jump scare.
All right, thanks, Kat. Tonight's story comes to us from friend of the show, Robert. We'll just leave it at that. He wants to remain semi-anonymous.
Okay.
So, Robert tells us, Utah is home to 5 national parks. My girlfriend and I rented a car and car camped to see Capitol Reef, Arches, Canyonlands, Bryce Canyon, and Zion. We hiked a total of 40 miles in those 4 days. The back roads of Utah are desert and mountains, with rarely any animal life except for scavenger birds. On our way from Arches to Capitol Reef, we wanted to hit the isolated roads of Moon Overlook and Stargaze. Nice. But we got lost on the dirt back roads because there was no service and GPS was spotty at best. As the sun was starting to set, we decided an isolated patch far from the main road would be perfect to stop for the night. We parked, and there was a disorienting silence about the place. There was no life to be seen apart from a few scattered plants. No bugs, no birds. You could hear nothing except for each other's footsteps and breathing. Occasionally, a plane would be flying miles in the sky, and it would sound like it was 300 yards above you, but you wouldn't even see. The land was a fitting description of the moon, with an occasional mountain in the distance, white sand, and frequent canyons with many holes in the rock faces. Paint a picture here.
Yeah, yes, I was about to say.
We explored the area and found a set of cowboy boot tracks, with much larger than my 12-size sneaker, and then a sudden pair of small handprints pushed into the long-dried mud as if they were frantically looking for something.
Oh.
The boot prints never trailed back, but ended with the handprints. Then, 5 yards up, the next set of tracks was that of hooves, similar to a cattle.
Eee.
A long debate ensued about what could have been. We eased our minds by declaring whatever happened was a long time ago, and our camping setup was finished anyway. Thunderstorms were coming in the distance, so we got in the car, locked it, then hung up the key. Around 1 a.m., we got hot and cracked the windows. Shortly after, my girlfriend reported she heard the sound of horses, but knew that was impossible due to that being in the desert. She looked out the window and saw nothing. She fell back asleep, but 30 minutes later we were quickly awoken and the car alarm went off without us touching the key or hitting the doors. We turned off the alarm and went back to sleep. This cycled about 4 times until my girlfriend jumped in the driver's seat and sped off. When we landed in Capitol Reef, the car alarm never went off. Neither did it during the previous 2 nights or the nights after that. We theorized 3 things. That we observed the tracks of a shapeshifter, that an outlaw executed somebody, and their ghost was trying to get in the car, or that it was simply an error in my electronic key. But what do you think, Robert?
Robert.
Getting weird out in the desert.
Yeah. I don't know what I think. I think weird shit happens out there. You know?
I mean, the desert's a weird place, right?
It really is, man. The desert's a weird place. Oof. See, now, you getting those, frantic hand prints in the ground to that, then footprints that eventually turn into some kind of hooven foot.
Yeah.
You might have just encountered a shapeshifter, my friend.
He may have, and they were trying to be secret about it.
Right.
Or human trafficking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
More than likely in that area.
Yeah. Oof. Good job escaping. Good job on your girlfriend for knowing when to beat feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, hey, I'm for some remote locations, but going to sleep out in the middle of the desert like that, not this guy.
No.
No way.
No. I need a security detail out there with me. You know what I mean?
No, totally. No, I love the story. I mean, you also hear these stories, right, about these desert locations, and they say that out in the desert is where these vortexes happen, and they attract paranormal activity. So
right.
I'm gonna chalk it up to unexplained, and I'm glad that the story exists.
Yeah. Also, a funny thing is too when he was talking about the argument ensued.
Yeah.
You know what that argument was like? It's already fucking built. You know?
Yeah.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah, he's like, no, babe, it's a fucking ghost. Yeah. Like, it's clearly a fucking skinwalker.
Yeah. Crack the window.
Yeah, crack the window. It's getting hot in here with your bullshit.
Yeah. You're steaming it up with your bullshit today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. Good work. Thank you, Robert, for the story.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, and before we get moving on, we got another haunted headline. All right, thanks, me. All right, this one is from a couple days ago. It's witnesses report sighting of a disc near Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. In a recent report submitted to the National UFO Recording Center, someone claiming to be an employee of Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado said that they, along with 12 other people, saw a giant disc-shaped craft hovering a few hundred feet above the ground. The sighting reportedly took place approximately at 1 a.m. on June 5th following a performance by the band's All Time Low with Bad Sons and Beauty School Dropout. Oh, man. Emo night over there, man, huh?
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, the object was said to be hundreds of feet long with 3 levels of windows and hovered slightly before vanishing into thin air. That's pretty cool. That's a cool description.
I like it.
And the quote comes, "I was working at the Red Rocks Amphitheater last night when one of our coworkers suddenly said this, 'Hey, what's that thing over there? It looks like a spaceship,' the witness said. When all turned to look in that direction, he saw what was pointed, and sure enough, there was a UFO hovering about half a mile to half north of the Red Rocks. A dozen of us saw it. We all kept asking each other, 'Are you seeing that too?' It was a resounding yes from everyone involved in the group. So they watched the dark metallic object for about 30 seconds before it drifted east and estimated 5 to 10 miles per hour, and then it disappeared. So whatever they witnessed, what is that? They say that it's not a plane, it wasn't a satellite, nor anything like that. There was no mistaking what it was. We all saw a gigantic disc-shaped craft hovering a few hundred feet above the ground, and 3 rows of windows and lights. Then we all saw it fade into nothing as soon as it was being watched. There was a dozen other people who saw it with me, so that's pretty cool. That's a cool one.
No, I like it. That's Colorado, right? Red Rocks.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's it's out in that big sky country. So favorite place of lots of UFO sightings. It's not Arizona, but.
Yeah, it's no Arizona.
Yeah, I mean this shit. I mean that's. It's funny that you found this one for today because this is the stuff that has been wanting us to do more of these alien episodes because the sightings just don't stop.
They just don't stop. They just keep talking about them out there. And in all these levels of government, now they're like, guys, they're real. Things are getting wild. They're real. Can we look at that, not the other stuff?
Yeah,
please.
It's super fascinating, and they say that there's 4 documented sightings in our country every day now, which means That's a lot. I mean, people are probably seeing shit way more than that. They said that they think that less than 10% of sightings actually get reported.
Right.
So I don't know if it's that, I don't know if it's that people are reporting them more now because there's, it's hot, or is it just that there's that much stuff going on?
I don't know, buddy. I don't know.
Personally, I want to see the black cube that's inside of the clear sphere. That's the one that I want to see.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sure we'll see it soon enough, buddy, because things aren't going to cool down anytime soon.
It's like the aliens know something.
Yeah, they know that we're on the brink of something, and they're just like, look at these assholes.
Or it's our stuff.
Yeah, and they're like, look at these assholes.
Right. I'm here in my cool cube inside of a sphere.
Some guy to death somewhere. He's flying his cube inside a clear sphere.
Yeah. There's nothing in there. There's nothing organic.
He's taking his new toy out. He's like, the specs on the new cube globber are pretty fucking sick, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Cube Glob 5.7.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Nimbus 2000, but it's... I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize for that.
It's all right, buddy.
Yeah, I know. All right, well...
It's a new broom. It's a Nimbus.
They're a gift from Draco's father. Awful. And that's not because I'm a fan. That's because I've been forced to watch these fucking movies multiple times a year by my wife. Shout out to Christina.
I'm a Potter fan. Me and Christina, most of our memes we share back and forth are Harry Potter.
I know. She's like, look what I just sent Ken. I'm like, I don't care.
You're like, I hate you both. Now shut up.
Yeah, I'm like, why don't you tell me the part where they're doing the wizard's chest? No, he's going to sacrifice himself. I don't want to hear it again. I wish all we had to worry about was kids on brooms flying through the sky.
Yeah, and he's casting spells,
Yeah, dude, I'd be into it. Oh, British people.
Yeah. You'd still be Slytherin, you know it.
Yep. Oh, I'd be in Slytherin for sure. So like we mentioned at the top, we're gonna be we got a list. We got a list here, don't we, huh?
Yeah, we like these list ones. We got a big weekend ahead of us, and these ones are just, we love these kind of like warm up, fast and loose, like kind of like bing bang boom discussion, quick topic.
Yeah, because, folks, you're about to get a bunch more Other Dangerous podcast episodes.
Yeah. I don't know if we've made that announcement on the last one. I think we did, but yeah, no.
I don't think we did. No. We're learning Lovecraft is a work in progress. That's getting shelved for a little bit. It's not going away. We're not stopping it. It's just we want to refine some things.
Yes.
So in the meantime, while we're doing that, we're going to be experimenting with some things here on our original show.
Yes.
And because of that, it's going to, maybe help us produce that one better. But we don't like to put out substandard stuff. Yeah, we're sitting here, two guys drinking most of the time, having just a fucking humdiddly-do of a good time. But we do take it seriously, and we do want to give you guys, a good product and a unique product. We're not just trying to do what everybody else does.
Hey, and proof of that, we've been ahead of the curve with, a lot of these reports coming out with different names of entities and different kinds of ships and what is actually considered canon by the U.S. government. We've been ahead of that, guys.
Yeah, I coined crypto-terrestrial in 2008.
Yeah, and we brought it to you in 2021. So, we are pretty good at this.
We got our finger on the pulse of Bigfoot.
Yes, we are the lone gunman from X-Files. That is us, but there's two of us.
Yeah,
that's why a cooler version.
More than one.
Way cooler version of those guys.
Sure, that's to be determined, but.
Right, but
jury's still out on that.
But as of now, like Jay was saying, we are going to be bringing you more Other Dangerous podcast in the meantime.
Yes.
And hey, we didn't go anywhere. We had to take a couple breaks, figure some stuff out, but here we are. That's me punching through the wall.
Yes, because brass tacks, your boy's fucking exhausted, so we just gotta fucking pump the brakes a little bit because.
Just life and surgeries and stuff like that. It gets wild.
It does get wild.
It gets wild. In summertime, birthdays, parties, everything.
Yeah, every goddamn weekend.
I think everyone turned 40 this last couple months, and there's more coming. I think it's. Yeah. I don't even know if I know anyone that's not 40 now.
Well, your brother turns 40.
My brother is going to turn. My mom just turned 40. No, everyone's 40 now. My nephew is 40. My godsons are 40. My goddaughter's 40. Everyone's 40 now. That's just where I'm at.
They should just drink a 40 and be done with it.
Dude, I gotta get some 40s. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
back to what we were saying. That was a little quick announcement there, and here we go. We're revving the engines back up.
Yep.
Okay. So, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah, man. I'll take the wheel. So these are no particular order. These are just great UFO encounters that had great evidence around them. They rose to the top. These are the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah.
These are the ones that you always come across. And in researching some of these, there's actually two I had never heard of. So I was like, you know what? Let's put them in.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So the first one, we have the Hudson Valley UFO wave, right? This is a very, very, very famous one. So this was between 1982 and 1986. We have around 5,000 eyewitnesses reported seeing V-shaped UFOs with multicolored lights flying near the Hudson Valley. And this is up in New York.
Yeah.
This is just it's 1 hour north of New York City. I'm sure you just drove through here, Ken.
I did, dude. It was beautiful. The Hudson Valley's it's awesome,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah. It's gorgeous. The first sighting was made on New Year's Eve 1982 by a retired police officer in Kent, New York. The former officer initially thought that he was observing an airplane. When the craft passed over his home, he realized it was moving far too slowly and quietly to be an airplane. While most of the eyewitnesses described a slow-moving V-shaped UFO, other reports said the object appeared to be circular and capable of moving at fantastic speeds or disappearing altogether. During one sighting, the UFO hovered about 30 feet above the Indian Point nuclear plant. That's scary as fuck. The security supervisor was considering shooting the craft down before it disappeared from sight. Despite eyewitness reports and photographic evidence, the phenomenon was never properly explained.
No.
Kind of.
That last thing there, though, like the security supervisor at a nuclear plant. Imagine the kind of weaponry at his disposal, you know? He's like, I think I got to shoot this thing down.
I might be mistaken, but I think some of those nuclear plants, at least for a time, had like people. I think they had soldiers from the National Guard there all the time, or
absolutely.
close by.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So,
yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, these places. I mean, you know, it's not that you even like guess, but if this really was, you know, a craft with, you know, intergalactic beings inside, I mean, of course they would be interested in these places, you know?
Right. Well, now I think that the officer from the Kent County, was it?
Yes.
I believe that is this the guy that he eventually told his story and got like ostracized from the community and like eventually died. I forget. I think this sounds familiar. I think it was in the 80s. Man. Yeah, but I think this might be the one. I might be mistaken. I'll have to look deeper into that. But it sounds like the one because him following it on the road, other police were involved. They kind of backed off on the story and let him kind of just take the rap of like being the town psycho, and his wife left him, and it went wild.
I mean, yeah, possibly. I mean, there were so many people that were witness to this thing that, I mean, it's called, you know, the Hudson Valley sightings. I mean,
okay, yeah, then never mind. Yeah,
this was a lot. I mean, it's so ridiculous that this is one of those ones where it's like there's actually pictures of these, and they're amazing. Very similar to one we're going to talk about later. I know one of your favorites, the Phoenix lights. Yes. Very, very similar. But this one. This one they've tried to for years turn into like a pariah because they were like, no, these were specifically Cessna 152s in tight formation with bright lights that could change colors. It's like, no, they weren't. Yeah. Because the way that it was flying in this circular pattern, there's no way. Like, there's no way. I was assigning the cop thing. Like I said, it just reminded me of the one cop. I thought Kent County. I thought that it sounded familiar in the way that he described it. So no, it's not that one because it was two different counties. The UFO passed through two different ones, and then like this guy was the one who went like passed through the jurisdiction of the other one and kept going. So that's what became an incident. It's not this one. It's not this one. No, I mean it's possible. I mean, we're kind of giving these like, you know, a little once over. I mean, there's a lot. Each one of these has like pages and pages and pages of stuff to go into. Right. But this is one of the ones that was one of the big ones, and this one happening in the 80s. I don't remember it happening, but this is one of those ones that always pops up in UFO like videos or books from back in the day. And this is also close to the area where Dan Aykroyd had his famous sighting, which was up. It was up in the Adirondacks, which is a little bit above this, but still same area. So this area of New York is, just known for these types of sightings.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking into it now. Sergeant Kenneth V. Spiro from K Troop followed the small airport in Dutchess County reported. Okay, so yeah, no, this is a whole kind of troop that were involved with this. So this wasn't just a single guy that reported this. But okay, yeah, just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up this little fun little fact. According to ufologist Peter Gertzen, in the summer of 1984, his organization, the CAUS, also known as the Citizens Against UFO Secrecy, received hundreds of reports of a large boomerang object hovering over the trees with lights that had a slight buzz, quote unquote. So they were drunk. Gertzen had not interviewed the pilots who had claimed they were responsible. He intended to hire a private investigator to look into the timing of reported sightings, possibly corresponding to the flights by the pilots. Gertzen believes that some of the eyewitness reports were explained by the lights of the pilots flying in a V formation, but not all the eyewitness reports. Yeah, this is another one of those ones where they talk about it later, where it's like they had a few major ones right up top, right? All these people see it, they report it. So then they think, a couple UFO investigators think that once the military was like, oh shit, a lot of people saw this, they sent people in planes out just to like muddy the waters. It's like, see, this is what it was. It was this.
I mean, that sounds smart. That's what I would do if I were in their shoes.
Yeah, so like, this is what you saw. This is what you saw. And then people are like, no, the thing I saw made no noise.
Like, you're an idiot. Yes, it's...
I don't know, man. I mean, even just specifically, the town, Mahopic, which is a town up there, resident Irene Lunn reported a sighting on Monday, August 20th, 1984, at about 9 p.m. She said it was heading south over a pond, quote, just clearing the trees. There was no sound at all. You could hear the crickets. About 3/4 the size of my house, with an L-shaped structure suspended underneath it. At one point, all the lights went green, then red, then they went back to a pattern of green and red and white. I felt like it was letting us know it knew we were watching it. That was scary. It went on for about 10 minutes.
So a V-shaped craft
letting out
an L-shaped structure underneath it.
Yes.
That's weird.
Over the water. And this is a few folks in some of these other reports, and we're not going to go through all of them, but they reported the same kind of thing, that there was this structure underneath and it was getting close to the water, like it was doing something with the water. Yeah, like maybe taking some to like cool down whatever powers it, keeping or dropping Chuck Rack back off. It's like, here you Maine motherfucker, check out New York, and they just drop them. Or they're just like, putting in more reptilian eggs. Maybe could be more. Could be they're creating a lake monster is what they were doing. I like that the best. It's like the movie Host. Yes. That's what I think's happening there. All right. So that's the ABs and Cs of the Hudson Valley UFO wave. All right. So let's we're gonna go to Shag Harbor UFO incident. Are you Randy, baby? Yeah. Anyway, the Shag Harbor UFO is Canada's equivalent of the Roswell UFO in the United States. Wild. That Canada thinks they can compete, though. You know what I'm saying? This is the big one, though, buddy. Yeah. Well, they are the top hat of America. So on October 4th, 1967, an unknown object crashed into the water near the tiny fishing village of Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia. At least 11 people watched the object as it headed towards the harbor. Multiple witnesses heard a whistling sound and a loud bang as it crashed into the water. That's weird. Shortly afterwards, Laurie Wickens and 4 of his friends contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police after they spotted a large object floating in the Atlantic Ocean about 1,000 feet from the shore. The RCMP, the Royal Canadian Navy, and the Royal Canadian Air Force became involved in an unsuccessful recovery effort. That sucks too. Yeah, because, the shadow government beat them to it. The investigation revealed that all commercial, private, military aircraft along the eastern seaboard were accounted for. The Navy combed the seafloor of the Gulf of Maine, but found no trace of the object. So, you're seeing this object at Shag Harbor. Dude, the whistle before it, and a bang before it went in. That sounds to me like something was steaming. Yes. It couldn't contain a containment unit of some sort.
was losing containment, went kablooey, and dropped this fucker in the water. Yeah. So, and then there was also a little report here. Daryl Dory and his sister Annette and his mother were sitting on the front porch in Mahone Bay when they noticed a large object maneuvering above the southwestern horizon. The next day, he wrote a letter to RCAF Greenwood Base commander asking what was flying over the water on that evening, as he never seen anything like it before. There's a couple other different reports from other people. You get a nice little, official report here as well. Dude, it's weird, man. Like, Shag Harbor, what mysterious dark object? Like, there's no real great description of the object. You know what I mean?
Just the yellowness of it, and then there was another detail that they added, that there was a weird yellow foam that was on the surface of the water for a time.
Yes.
So it's some kind of, exactly, like it entered our atmosphere and then it hit the water. Who knows what it was? But a little tidbit as well is that 2 days after the incident had been observed, a detachment of Navy divers was assembled, and for the next 3 days they combed the seafloor of the Gulf of Maine, which is off of Shag Harbor, looking for the object. And according to them, the final report said no trace of an object was found. Yeah, right.
No, not a clue, not a bit of anything.
Whatever they found is at Area 51 right now.
Yeah,
or Area 52.
Yeah, or area, or S9, S7, S6.
Any of those.
Yeah,
that's the general area.
Right. But once they assumed it crashed, it was only about 15 minutes for them to arrive on scene, which is pretty good. You think the Canadian the Mounties are a little laid back. Apparently not.
No, I mean, they were sent in right away. I mean, they were probably some kind of weird, organic robot. You know how they do.
They're the men in red in Canada.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And they run on maple syrup. I don't know if you knew that.
Maple syrup and hockey. That's what they run on over there.
And poutine.
And poutine. Yo, poutine slamming. Don't hate on poutine.
I didn't hate on it. That's what they run on.
I'm just saying,
if it wasn't slamming, they wouldn't run on it.
Hey, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying anyone out there.
All right.
Had it in Vegas. It was the best thing I've ever had.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
But don't bring up a doneer. I don't hear about your bullshit doneers out there. Which is like a falafel with meat. It's a bullshit cheesesteak, basically.
They can't all be hits. Some are misses. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maple syrup hockey and poutine. We're good there.
And we get pissed when people generalize about Philly.
Right, exactly.
All right, so next up we have the Westall UFO. This one was new on me. I found this one in a couple articles. So around 11 a.m. on April 6, 1966, an unexplained flying object flew around Westall High School in Melbourne, Australia. More than 200 students and several teachers watched the UFO as it descended into a nearby field. Eyewitnesses watching the craft hovered around the school for approximately 20 minutes. The object was described as being a gray saucer-shaped object that was about twice the size of a family car, so like a school bus size. There were no commercial, private, or Royal Australian Air Force planes in the area at the time. It was suggested that a weather balloon may have been responsible for the confusion, but eyewitnesses quickly dismissed the explanation. The Australian skeptics suggested that the object was an experimental military craft similar to the nylon target drogues that were towed by RAAF planes at the time. But the Air Force reported they were not in the airspace at the time of the incident. So let's speculate, because that's what we do here.
Well, real quick, I was like, this sounds familiar, and I just checked. It was in the movie, the documentary, The Phenomenon.
Okay.
You ever see that?
No, I never watched that one.
It's a good one. Yeah, this is one of the stories in it. They covered this one, and I was like, this does sound really familiar. And it's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great one. I mean, and there's also other details as well. I mean, there's some accounts that describe the object as being pursued by 5 other different unidentified aircraft. Interesting. I don't know if that means it was being pursued by government aircraft. We don't know. Sean Matthews was on vacation at the Grange and reported seeing an object with a slight purple hue and about twice the size of, like we said before, a family car. Along with this, some witnesses reported seeing the object take off after landing, and some reported seeing it hover rather than land. When students walked to the Grange after the sighting, some reported a landing site, but the details varied between reports. Here's the next part that I really like. The first crop circle. Okay, so students described a circle of grass variously as burnt, boiled, or pressed down where it landed. One student interviewed by a local newspaper described a vague circular area flattened by the wind. That same weird kind of like pattern. Students also reported varying numbers of circles from 1 to 3. And then on April 9th, 1966, Air Force personnel and UFO enthusiasts visited the field but reported nothing of interest. The landowner burned the field to discourage people from entering the property. Oh, yeah? Is that why he did it?
That is a super Australian thing to do, though. Just be like...
Yeah.
I would have done an Australian accent, but it's one of the ones I really suck at, so I'm not going to try.
Yeah, you don't have to do it. I mean, it's all good.
But this does sound like this is Hulk Hogan from, what is it, Universal Commando? Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. Shit. Something like that.
Yeah,
I do know what you're talking about.
Where he's being hunted by the Undertaker, who's a different alien, and you know, his name was Ramsey in it.
I haven't seen that since I was like 10.
Yeah, same.
This is another one that really, and going through all these, and I meant to bring this up, like, how stupid do they think people are? Like, oh, it was a weather balloon. What?
Well, the problem is that most people go, see, weather balloon. You know, that's how stupid they think people are, because most people don't, they just go, oh, you're crazy, or that's nuts. Like,
let me ask you a question, Ken. How many weather balloons have you seen in your life?
Two summers ago when China flew them over.
Yeah, that's country. The only time I've ever even heard of it.
That's the only two I've ever seen, ever.
Yeah. I don't know if they just don't use them anymore or if they were more common back then, but never seen one. I mean, and that could just be my own ignorance. Maybe they're just not doing them anymore. But, like, for them to keep bringing that up to, like, oh, it was a weather balloon, or, oh, it was, like, refracted light from, like, low-passing cars with Jupiter. No. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's just the excuse factory, you know? They got a crack team of just, like, you know what we haven't used this time or in a while? You know, they're like, let's bring back the weather balloon thing.
Exactly. This case also included some fun accounts. Not the first, but some Australian Men in Black. Some of the students...
Men in Black. Men in
Black. Yeah, so they called them men in suits down there, which is kind of interesting. But they were guys. It was the '60s, so it was that black, you know, that typical black suit.
No one in Australia wears suits, so that's why they're the men.
That's why they stuck out like sore thumbs. But they Australia. Well, you know, I mean, that's what they're doing down there.
Yeah, right.
It's hot.
Yeah, it is. It's hot.
Just board shorts and whatever else. Whatever Crocodile Dundee wore. Whatever he wore.
Yeah, sleeveless shirts. It's sleeveless shirts and board shorts. Yeah.
No, dude, it wasn't even a fucking shirt. It was an alligator leather vest. No shirt.
Well, he would, but I'm just saying the common folk, the ones that didn't earn their vest yet. It's
not Paul Hogan. Okay, got it. No, so they talk about these guys in the suits and that they came to the houses of some of these students and like threatened them apparently and like young kids.
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
Oh, God, I wish I could do an Australian accent because I would have them like threatening the kids, you know.
Yeah. Maybe next time. Maybe you can practice for when we do the next Australian case.
Yeah, I'll buff up on it. I'll get better.
All right. You want to take us to the next one?
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Anchorage, Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
On November 18th, 1986, year of our Lord, Ken James was born that year, a Japanese Boeing 747... What?
Just stop with that bullshit. Just continue.
What bullshit? A Japanese Boeing 747 cargo aircraft was followed for nearly a half hour by an unidentified flying object, or UAP, as they're now known. The crew witnessed two objects while flying over eastern Alaska. As the objects got closer to the plane, the cabin was lit up and filled with a strange heat. That sucks. As these two objects flew away, a much larger disc-shaped craft emerged from the darkness and started to follow the 747. Captain Taruchi, I gave it a shot, contacted Anchorage Air Traffic Control and requested a change of course. He was like, following us. The UFO followed the plane despite any of the captain's maneuvers. So he was, he was whipping at that time. All of the data, including ground radar that captured the unidentified craft, was collected and presented at a meeting with the FBI and the CIA. Of course. After reviewing all of the material, the government officials decided that this was the first radar recording of a UFO. However, they insisted that their meeting never took place. Of course they did.
Yeah. So this is actually kind of funny because this is known as one of the most documented UFO cases, and it hardly ever gets brought up. The story that they told was all corroborated. They had people on the ground that were seeing things that were going on. The craft itself that they saw at first was the one thing where it had like these really weird light effects about it, but then there was what he called like a mothership, which was more of a walnut shape. The pilot said, and it was because of how big this was. I mean, the guy was just telling the truth. This was a Japanese crew, and after he told his whole report and went public with it, he was actually grounded as a pilot for about 5 years or so, because in this, he's not part of the FAA, but I mean, obviously he's going to be, flying through U.S. airspace. You do this kind of stuff. It's, they ground you. It's like, nope.
They're like you dishonored your family. You're not flying. Well, this one has one of those good explanations. One of those silly ones. This is editor of Aviation Week and Space Technology magazine. And UFO investigator Philip J. Klaus reported that the planets Jupiter and Mars were in the area that Tarucci said he saw 2 lights, and although they would have been quite visible, he did not mention seeing them. So...
yeah, actually, he did mention that, which is hysterical. First of all, Philip J. Klaus, I don't know if we've ever been over this guy. He is the notorious debunked guy with horrible explanations for, like, this is the Angel Hernandez of UFO stuff. Like, terrible. Like, just terrible. This is where the joke comes from. It was like, oh, swamp grass off of Venus, bounced off of, reflected. This is this guy. So in his original report,
he's been called the Sherlock Holmes of ufology.
No, he's a mark. He's like literally.
Total. He works for Aviation Week and Space Technology magazine, and he's a UFO investigator. He's the inside guy that muddies the water on purpose. He's the guy that goes, no, let me tell you.
Yep. Yeah. No, because so Captain Terauchi, he even said, he's like, no, he's like, I knew where Jupiter and Mars were, and they were behind us. And all anyone has to do is pull up the records from that night. They were behind us. And he was very clear about what happened. He said it was this, it did this stuff, and that was it. And they even have they have their recordings from that night. You can actually hear them on YouTube. And I was listening to a little. It's it's very broken English, but they're very clear. Like, nope, this is this. It's here. I can see it. And he landed, and they. He never strayed from his story. He doesn't talk about it, anymore, but he still stands by it, though. He says, I don't, when anyone ever asks him to talk about it, he's like, I don't talk about it. I stand by my story, though.
Yeah.
So
like, I don't want to be forced to commit seppuku. I'm all right.
Jesus Christ, Ken.
What? What? I like it.
He has to run through Takeshi's castle to get his job back.
Nice.
So this was a big one. I mean, people don't really talk about it a lot because it's a little dry. There's no one getting abducted, but all these, like, there was meetings, like you had mentioned earlier in the report. There were these meetings by the CIA came out and was investigating this. So this was no nonsense. I mean, they were very clear about it.
And it's funny because, like you said, it's not one of those super fantastical ones where no one's getting abducted, nothing's crazy. And these are one of the ones that are the more credible, or the most credible. Because now I was actually talking about it with my buddy at work. Some shows on where it's called like UFO Fact or Fiction or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the premise is it's basically the same thing as the Dead Files with ghosts, where like the one guy is the
that annoying girl.
Yeah, that New York cop, and the other's the punchy, drunk psychic who's always wasted. And in this show, this guy's the ufologist, the other chick's like a reporter for some magazine, and she's always like, look, there's no evidence of this stuff, so I'm gonna have to say no. And then it goes to the guy's like, you were fucking abducted. That's I'm like, like every episode he's like, she said there's nothing going on, an alien killed you.
Right, you're dead. You don't even know it yet.
But what I was saying to him there, like that these are the good ones.
Yes.
And it's just like anything else, because now there's all these sightings and all these cases of all these people reporting this shit. And they're always like, the thing came down. It punched me in the face. It said, who's going to believe you? It pulled off. My story. It's nuts. Like, I tell the guys behind the building, behind the bar when we shoot up all the time. Like, like that's the one guy looked like that. But that's how, like, that's what it is now.
Yeah.
It's just like all these crazy stories where like you don't get the nice meat and potatoes ones from credible witnesses. You have just some guy that like he was like, I was walking home from the crack house and like it got wild, man.
Well, I mean, if you mention the crash house, that kind of, invalidates your story. But sure.
I added that for, color, for flavor.
Yeah. And that's the problem with this story. It's great, but it's just facts. It's not sexy. Nobody got, fucking radiation poisoning from being too close to a ship.
There's not like grating burns on his belly,
Yeah, this isn't Benny and Barty Hill, you know what I'm saying? We don't include that one for a good reason. We already did an episode, and that's on a shelf. And it stays on that shelf because that one's up there.
Anytime someone has something to say, you break it down, you brush it off, and you go, let me tell you the tale.
Here, I'm not going to tell you anything. Just listen to the tapes.
Yeah.
Just listen to Barney losing his mind.
Yeah.
Recalling the abduction.
And then his brain exploded.
Basically. Yeah. Fucking dude died like 6 years later. That guy didn't leave his 40s because of that thing.
Yeah. Yep. That experience killed the man.
Yep. All right. You want to go over to Chicago O'Hare International Airport?
Dude, let's stop in for a Chicago-style dog. Man,
yesterday was National Hot Dog Day.
Every day is National Hot Dog Day.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So on November 7th of 2006, pretty recent, and I hadn't heard of this one before either, a metallic saucer-shaped craft was seen hovering over the O'Hare International Airport in Chicago. John Hilkovich from the Chicago Tribune reportedly said, the disc was visible for approximately 2 minutes and was seen by close to a dozen United Airlines employees, ranging from pilots to supervisors.
Yeah, I know
the
this
object.
One.
Yeah, this is. I was listening to they have all the audio on this, which is great. Them talking to each other. The object apparently shot straight up and carved a visible circular hole through the clouds.
Yep.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
The Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, initially claimed that they didn't have any information about the sighting. The Chicago Tribune then filed a Freedom of Information Act request, which uncovered recorded conversations concerning the UFO, which I mentioned. The FAA suggested that the sighting was the result of a weather phenomenon called a hole punch cloud. But the temperatures that day make this explanation impossible. Then the FAA said that the airport lights were responsible for the sighting, but the lights hadn't been turned on yet. A proper investigation was never conducted.
Of course not.
This is like charming. If you listen to the tapes, like it's funny because there's like this. The beginning starts with like a woman who works in like the control tower, and she's calling over to another control tower, and she's like, I haven't been drinking today, but we just saw a UFO. And the guy's like, what the hell are you talking about, you Disney game? And like, it's funny as hell because like you could tell he's heard this shit a million times because she wants to say it. She's like, it's a disc. He's like, a disc? Like a frisbee? She's like, no, like a flying saucer. She's like, did you say flying saucer? Because, that's like, you don't say that. You don't say UFO, you don't say flying saucer, you don't say it in like, these aviation communities because as soon as you do, that's it. Yeah.
He's like, you haven't been drinking today, but I have, and I'm about to lose my mind on you, lady.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
I'm going to say some stuff.
He's like, listen, if you say UFO, that means I have to do 5 hours of paperwork, and it's a half hour left of my shift. Yeah. So you're not going to say UFO.
You're going to say hole punch cloud, and you're going to be backed up by another Mark Hammergren.
Yes, and then I'm going to punch you in the and give you a hole punch.
There's going to be a hole punch in your head.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny too because like just listen to the tapes, it's like, wow, this is actually kind of interesting, but then they go back and forth and it's guys from different departments, and then you can hear them talking to this military guy at one point, and he's like, okay, let us what do you got? And then like they just go over it, and it's they all see the same thing. It's a disc-shaped craft hovering over the airport. And in the tapes they have the phrase, it's obviously not clouds. It's chrome. They can see it's metal.
Like, no, it's the lights.
No, and it's just sitting there, and then it shot at like they said it's just like that stereotypical UFO movement, right? Where it just right through the clouds, just punches right through, and it's just gone. That 0 point, whatever they call it, that zero point
energy. Yeah. It's so funny though too that just some asshole has like, he's got it in his shirt pocket. He's like, hold on, hole punch cloud. That's what it was.
Yep. He's got a list of. He's got. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Textbook hole punch cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was visible for close to 5 minutes, which is long for a sighting.
Right.
Of a single aircraft. Usually these ones that last for a while are like the ones we just spoke about, the Hudson Valley one, and then later we'll talk about the the Phoenix Lights. But this was, this was a big one, and for it to be seen by all these people, it to me, that really, this is a great one.
Well, there you go. You have the recordings of people conversing about it. That immediately is awesome because it's official recordings. It's not like someone faked it or made it. It's it's air towers. That stuff has to be saved.
Yeah, and the fact that they're talking about it, and it's not just you could tell they're used to looking at aircraft all day long. So when they see something that's out of the ordinary, they know it because these people are experts at looking at aircraft. Yeah. And that's why this one is on this list because
absolutely.
And then after this, they just dropped it because the government was probably just like, well, we're not gonna
everyone's
turn this into a thing by actually talking about it.
Yeah, look, everyone's gonna get fired. Shut up.
Yeah, we're not going to dignify this with a response. So let's just let this go. Tell that lady she's crazy, and you know what? In about 4 years, let's give her cancer.
We'll just put something. We'll put something in her cheeseburger. She'll get cancer.
Yep. They're going to use the under the umbrella kind of one, where the guy picks it up and goes right into her cheeseburger.
Yep. She's like, why do you have your government does it inside? Yeah. It just rains from an umbrella cancer cheeseburger. All right, so guys, let's head back over the pond. We're going to talk about the Alderney UFO sighting. Now, Captain Ray Bauer was flying a routine 45-minute flight from Southampton, England, on April 23rd, 2007, when he and his passenger saw two UFOs as they approached Alderney. The Jersey Airport radar control recorded the two large yellow cigar-shaped objects for over 55 minutes. Remember when cigar-shaped objects were all the craze?
Well, yes, but I think this is just them seeing him from a different angle. I think it's your classic saucer, but they're just seeing it from the side.
Sure,
that's what I think.
It's a good theory. Another pilot flying a plane near Sark also confirmed the presence and location of these mysterious crafts. BBC Radio Guernsey. What is it?
It's Guernsey. It's
Guernsey?
It's an island. It's an island in Jersey, in England.
They got funny words. Radio Guernsey also reported that visitors in a hotel in Sark had noticed and inquired about two bright yellow objects in the sky. During an address to the U.S. National Press Club on November 12, 2007, Captain Bauer said the British Civil Aviation Authority knew within 20 minutes of the sighting what was seen, as described in the flight log, and faxed directly to the relevant CAA office. Despite the pilot's openness about the incident, the cooperation of the military and countless eyewitness reports from passengers and people on the ground, the incident remains a complete mystery. Of course it does.
Yeah.
Because the gentleman in black didn't show up,
Yeah, exactly. This is another one that it's just like... this is a pilot, man. It's like, and this guy, they say that he flew this particular flight. This is what he did. He flew private airplanes. It's not even that far of a journey.
Right.
He done it, they said, close to 1,000 times.
Right.
So if you've done that flight 1,000 times, you're clearly a seasoned pilot, and he was. He was an older guy. Even he was in his 50s at this point. Him seeing these things are not just, it's not some like light anomaly. It's not this thing they call sun dogs, which is this light anomaly caused by the sun during colder months. It wasn't anything like that. He's saying that these things were the size of 5 or 6 battleships, like enormous. Like they're saying like mile-sized craft, which is like, I mean, I could see where you could be a little bit like skeptical on that, because it's like, what are you using for scale? How do you know that it's that big? And if it's glowing or shining, whatever it was, that's the only part of this where I could take a little bit of issue. But he saw the thing for almost an hour. Like, they're not imaginary. And he had these high, they talk about these binoculars. He had high power binoculars, and he was using them. And then his co-pilot was also using them. And there were people who were in the plane at the time said that they were watching them. They're like, they weren't concerned, but they were like, hey, we got this, he's looking at something. And then he was like looking and following them. And it just, there were these huge, yellowish color with like this black stripe on the side, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, the colors are the imagery is pretty cool that the article pretty much has on there. But I love too that they try to get him with like explanations on an interview on BBC. And he accepted. He's like, all right, look, I guess it could be earthquake lights. Like, okay, guys. All right, guys, it's seismic activity causing this phenomenon of flashes over sea areas. He's like, okay, sure. At that point, he's probably just like, I just want to go home, have a crumpet or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my job. So I'm just going to say sure to whatever you say. and that's what's funny about this dude, because you could tell he's just working class dude. He's just like, this is my job. Hey, this is what I saw. I didn't want to see this.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Here he is years later on BBC getting fucking interviewed by like Nigel Glockenshire. And he's like, I just want to go home, dude.
Yep.
Like,
yep. He's opening his door to, one morning and it's fucking George Tsoukalos. And he's just like, nah. He's like, no, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah.
So this is a great one. I mean, I any of these that we're talking about tonight, I encourage you to go check it out on YouTube or something. There's every single one of these has like a long line of little documentaries that you can watch about them. And they're
at the end of this episode, they're gonna have a litany of just a night of UFO stories that they could just go on YouTube and pop between, and you'll have a great night.
Yeah, you will. This is a good UFO night.
Yeah.
So
sick, bro.
Next up, we have another one of these big ones, which non-US, but just as great. We have the Belgian UFO wave. So between November of 1989 and April of 1990, thousands of people reportedly witnessed triangular UFOs flying over various parts of Belgium. On multiple occasions, the Belgian officials even tracked these objects using radar. During the evening of March 30th, 1990, an estimated 13,500 people watched as the UFOs were chased by two F-16s. Over the course of an hour, the two F-16s made 9 attempts to intercept the UFOs and were able to make a radar lock with their targets. This is huge.
Yeah.
During one of the radar locks, the UFO accelerated from 150 miles per hour to over 1,100 miles per hour while changing altitude from 9,000 feet to 5,000 feet in a matter of seconds.
How embarrassing is that to a pilot? Like, if like you think you're flying like the fastest thing there is?
Yeah.
And this thing just goes, "Oh, you got me? Like, check this shit out." Boom,
so the alien Will Smith was flying it.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Same attitude?
Yeah, same attitude. He's got cool quippy lines,
Yeah.
He's got his neurotic buddy next to him, going, yes, this time without the oops.
Yeah, you're obsessed with the fat lady.
You're obsessed.
All right. After his retirement, Major General Wilfred de Brouwer wrote in a statement that the Belgian UFO wave was exceptional and the Air Force could not identify the nature, origin, and intentions of the reported phenomenon. The Belgian objects have still never been explained. So this one is very huge because of the amount of people, A, that witnessed it, and then B, that it was engaged by the military and all these people watched this happening.
Right, and this one too has that hoax photograph attached to it. Did you ever see that?
So there's that one. Yes. Yeah.
Well, the thing with this is this led to a bunch of different videos of very similar style. Actually, a lot of UFO videos now go off of this design.
So here's what I think. This one is interesting because this is recent. So it happened in 1990. We have this picture. He says later on that it was fabricated after the fact, where it was all documented, right? Mm-hmm. So he came back in 2011 and said it was, this is this is a triangle that I made out of, what was it, like, I don't know, clay or some shit and light bulbs. I don't know what he used. Styrofoam. I think he said styrofoam.
Yeah, styrofoam, spray paint, and light bulbs.
Yeah. But then again, before that even happened, before he came forward with that, this is 2011. Why did he wait so long? There was a physicist and a mathematician and a computer graphics analyst that all took a look at this thing and said, this is legit, and they were showing these artifacts in the film.
Right.
So it makes me think, like, we'll put our government conspiracy hats on over here. It makes me think that they were like, say this is a hoax.
Sure. I mean, yeah, and let's not even look. We already know that like Project Blue Book is like kind of like disinformation and all this stuff that kind of flooded out there.
Oh yeah.
To literally, we always say, muddy the waters. So they did a bunch of this stuff to be like, oh, this is what it should be reported. Like this is the real stuff, when all that stuff is bullshit. and then like the stuff that like is reported and is kind of like, no, this is fake by the government, is kind of the real stuff. So like, yeah, absolutely, we don't even need to put our conspiracy hats on. We just go what's happened in the past and what we're learning now, what's coming out, in these, congressional hearings. It's wild.
It's also something I came across quite a bit in going over these UFO incidences. I don't know why the dude from Skeptoid Podcast gets given so much credit on almost every single article. Why are they still talking to this dude?
Bro,
another huckster.
Yeah, well, some people get grandfathered in because, like, in the earlier days of the paranormal podcast, like, they get the views. They, like, look at the people, like, Last Podcast on the Left and Monsters Among Us and all these guys that get on the shows that go, I've never seen anything like this before. And it's like, yeah, you have. Shut up. Like, you're just here to, like, fucking take a paycheck home and say, like, this is credible. You know why it's credible? Because I say it is, because I have some kind of experience with this. Like, shut up, dude.
Dude. Yeah, totally. This is one of these ones that, and also put the conspiracy hat back on again. I like to think that it's like whatever craft was being flown in the air that night was reverse engineered aircraft technology. We were flying it. The United States was flying it, and they were like, let's go fuck with the Belgians, see what they got.
Yeah. See that? There you go. Once again, that's a way more credible answer than some guy making this thing out of styrofoam lights and spray painted it and like tossing it and like.
Yeah. And then they were probably like, someone from our government called up the president of Belgium and was like, by the way, that was us. You need to tell everyone that was a hoax, or we will use what you saw against you.
Yeah, and they're like, also, remember the cancer cheeseburger. Remember that.
Yeah, or there would be like a cancer, like, crepe. They'd get a crepe or something.
Because crepes are good.
Good. Waffles, whatever, Belgians, they like breakfast.
Yeah, they are. They're a big breakfast bunch. Chocolate, oh. I love chocolate. I love my dog. Yeah.
So this is one of the ones when I was reading it over, I was like, this could be an episode because there's so many facets to it that it's just it's a whole city saw this happen the one night, and it's like, although I think I just blew it wide open what happened.
Yeah, well, we can always revisit that stuff, buddy.
We can. Yep.
We've done it before. We'll do it again. All right. Yep. Let's go over to the Cash Landrum incident.
Dude, I love this one so much.
On December 29th, 1980, Betty Cash, Vicky Landrum, and Colby Landrum saw 23 unidentified helicopters surrounding a huge diamond-shaped object that was hovering above the tree's Wendigo Rift.
There it is.
The object emitted such a tremendous heat that the outside of the car was painful to touch, and a handprint was smeared into the soft vinyl interior. Sick. A Dayton police officer, Detective Lamar Walker, and his wife also claimed to have seen helicopters near the same area. After the incident, the group suffered from vomiting, diarrhea, and terrible burning sensations. Betty Cash developed painful blisters on her skin, lost clumps of her hair, and was unable to walk. A radiologist examined the group and concluded that they were all suffering from secondary damage from ionized radiation. They sued the U.S. government for $20 million, but the case was dismissed in 1986. Some people still believe that the government covered up its involvement with the incident. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So this is one that I truly think we need to do a full episode on this one because this is a huge one.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, it's landmark because this is the first time, and possibly the last one, because I don't remember any others, where two citizens sued the United States government for damages incurred by them by, whatever they were doing out there that night.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into full on details because there's a lot here. Like there's a lot.
This is a big article here. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one. I mean, they were exposed to high levels of radiation, whatever was going on out there. They didn't make that up. The plastic of the car was so hot that where the woman touched, she left a handprint because it was so hot.
The vinyl was like melting.
Yeah. And they had pictures. They had pictures of all of this. The exposure to radiation. It's not even like. It's a foregone conclusion. I mean, that happened. Yeah. They all experienced all these crazy symptoms afterwards. Yeah, the nausea, the vomiting, the diarrhea. the unbelievable skin burns that looked like sunburn, but like they have pictures of all of this.
Yeah.
Something happened to them. There's no doubt about it.
I love how the government was like, prove it.
And they did. And they did. That's basically what they said. It went on for years. It was a dirty case, which they lost, of course. And even further going on, that they all developed cancer down the road. The one woman developed breast cancer, and a cataract in her one eye. Two things that are also from being, exposed to this type of radiation, ionized radiation, which is what they're called. But and there's a whole thing about it, and they were apparently they were bullied and tried to be, they were coerced on the side. All these things, and and they ended up losing anyway. So fortunately, they were being represented by a lawyer who decided to do a pro bono for them, but it didn't matter because they lost. They were kind of.
I'm willing to bet that they someone settled with him after court, after the case dropped, to drop it, not follow, keep it up, keep talking.
Well, the one woman died
from a cheeseburger
or breast cancer. But yeah, I mean, this is all. It's something happened to them out there, and some of the conclusions that I heard, which were not the ones where like, oh, they clearly just drove past a power plant and they absorbed some radiation. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
you don't absorb that much radiation. No.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so funny, man. Like, people work there and don't experience that kind of radiation. You know what I mean? Like, someone's gonna park there for a couple minutes and all hell's gonna break loose in their car. Like, no.
Yep. What's also interesting is that there is later on they had a whistleblower type guy who came out. He gave information. He said he worked at the nearby base when this happened, and he said what happened that night was they were trying to test fly an alien craft that they had recovered. And that's why all the helicopters were there, and they were trying to test fly it in this remote area, which, okay, it's out in Texas somewhere, I guess.
Yeah.
And they just happened to drive past, they didn't have good control of it. They kind of wandered off course. They were trying to do their best, and whatever propulsion system this thing was using, they were kind of not really using it the right way or whatever, or didn't know what they were doing, and it was putting out these like unbelievable amounts of radiation in the area. So
yeah, their hands didn't quite fit in the controllers,
right, just like in
Independence.
No, I was thinking more of
Fire in the Sky.
Total Recall, when he puts his hand in the alien print to move the thing. Yeah.
Good, better deep cut. Yes, thank you.
Open up your mind.
Guado, dude, all day.
Yeah. All day Guado.
Fun fact about that, when they killed Benny, they already had the set built up and they didn't know how they were going to do it. So like, why doesn't he just drill through the wall? We have it here. That's what they went with in the movie.
Yeah.
Sick. 80s movies rock.
Oh yeah, that movie's out of control. But yeah, so this is a whole thing. I mean, there's so many documentaries on it. The design of the ship is super interesting. It's like, it's not very similar to anyone that we've kind of seen before.
No, it's kind of like that weird, like, I was gonna say like an elongated diamond, kind of almost crystal-esque, and it looked like it trailed from the bottom, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so this is one of these ones that I'm just like, you know what? This is not one of those ones where nothing happened. It's
it's an ODP kind of one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got two more left. I know number one is your favorite. So do you want me to take the next one so you can do your favorite at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it's lining up that way anyway. I mean, because you're doing the deep dives on these, you're bringing up the better stuff. This one's also, I love this one too. I've listened to countless podcast episodes, saw countless History Channel documentaries. They redid the footage of it, like black and white fake, footage of it. Yeah. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I'll take the last one, the Phoenix Lights, and you want to take this one. I'm
okay, great, buddy. Yeah, so we've got the Rendlesham Forest incident. This is one of those ones. This is like, Mount Rushmore of alien encounters. Not abductions, but just alien encounters because, so many people were involved. So a UFO was observed on December 26, 1980 in England's Rendlesham Forest near the Royal Air Force Station in Woodbridge. After witnessing some unexplained lights, several Air Force personnel, including Lieutenant Colonel Charles I. Halt, decided to head into the woods to get a closer look. They were expecting to find a plane crash. Instead, according to Halt's memo, they saw a glowing metallic object that moved at a phenomenal speed through the forest. The next day, servicemen returning to the site and found triangular-shaped impressions in the ground, broken branches on the trees, and radiation readings that were 10 times the normal background level. In 2010, retired Lieutenant Halt signed a notarized affidavit that summarized the incident and accused the U.S. and England of a cover-up. While some believe it was a hoax or a fallen Soviet satellite, others think it was a legitimate UFO sighting. Now that just is just a cursory overview of what happened here.
Yeah.
This is another one. Okay, so this is one. First of all, every single one of these, I believe, except for maybe 2 or 3. Let's say, I think at least 7 of this list all have unsolved mystery segments on them. This one I remember from Unsolved Mysteries, and they also call it Britain's Roswell. What's great about this one is that they have the recordings of them talking to each other, because the soldiers talking. These were American soldiers on an English base, and this was apparently this was during the Cold War. This it was like Reagan had just gotten in, and like him and Margaret Thatcher apparently saw eye to eye with each other, and he was they were bringing troops over there to help kind of like firm up their position against Russia, kind of thing. So that's why you have all these U.S. Soldiers over there, and there was this rumor that the United States had brought all these nuclear weapons over to England just in case there was some shit that had gone on. This was never, found out to be true or not, but this is what they say was going on there, and they think that whatever UFO was seen was possibly, I don't know, some kind of alien ship kind of like investigating, because like we said in an earlier story, they seem to be drawn to like the nuclear sites,
Right. Well, it would kind of make sense if that was the deal. It's like a precursor to the Star Wars program where, like, you're kind of trying to set up almost like the Iron Dome type situation that Israel uses, where it kind of makes sense where it's like, all right, let's send some of our nukes over there and even, anti-nuke missiles and experimental stuff that if someone acts against one of us, the other one can, isolate it and knock it out of the sky before it lands. So that would make a lot of sense. And there are, like we have here the secondary sources with the Halt memo and the Halt tape and all this other stuff. But it does make a lot of sense that it could have been some kind of mishap with trying to arm one of our allies at the time, our greatest ally at the time. So I mean, I can see that.
Yes. However, them kind of just trying to brush this off that it was like, first they were saying, there was a nearby highway and they were just seeing the lights from a car, and like the guy is like, no. 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 It being a downed satellite, I could maybe see that, or some kind of like spy aircraft from Russia. I could definitely see that, but then you get the full description on what happened here, and you got the guy seeing this, they go up to the craft and like, he feels like he's being like electrocuted by it, and he starts seeing all these ones and zeros, and this was before anyone even knew about, the binary code. Yeah. Like, it's this whole thing going on, and it's just like, okay. And it's just one of these really weird things where you're just, you get all the, the facts of the case and all the eyewitness, testimony, and you just have more questions than answers.
Right.
And then you just have more of these, guys getting discredited, although even though beforehand the guy was nothing but, he was like, an exemplary soldier.
Yeah.
And then you get idiots saying stuff like, oh, they just saw the lighthouse. What? Like, it doesn't look anything like it.
Once again, we will have at any instance, if someone official gets in front of a microphone and gives a bullshit explanation, you will have 70% of the people watching what they believe to be a trusted news source go, there it is. Yep. You got your answer. And then there's so many other questions, and they're like, don't question it, because questioning it's dumb. And then they go, well, I'm not a dumb person, so I'm not going to question it. And that's most of people when you get these fucking wild explanations of stuff that are just like, why don't you just say the best thing you could do is go, they made it up.
Yeah.
And just walk away.
Yeah.
Don't offer some parallel explanation of a lighthouse or something else.
Yeah, because it makes them look dumb, not the people who saw. It's like you don't go out there and see something and then be like, oh, it was just me seeing the lighthouse, or it was just cars. Those are ordinary things that people are used to. Maybe not so much the lighthouse as much as cars, but it just. I don't understand how they get to these, and especially these big ones where they're like, "Oh, it was just this." It's like, dude, there was like 30 something soldiers out there that night fucking around. You would know if you were seeing car taillights, or or the local guys could have been like, "Oh, that's just a lighthouse," which wouldn't have had the same movement. They're talking about a reddish color to this light. Why would the lighthouse be throwing off a red light?
No, well, it's like we were saying, it's doing more harm to them, and not just that. So you have to think about how these people in the higher ups of the military or in these levels of the government, how they think. They go, we're going to ruin those like 30 whoever soldiers' lives, careers. Doesn't matter to us. We'll get more in on the next wave. We don't care. We'll give this wild explanation. We'll say they're just crazy. We'll discredit them. When in reality, the easiest thing to do to keep everyone's credibility, they could have went, yes, there was an incident and it's classified. It is national security for us and England. We can't discuss it. Maybe it'll be disclosed on a later date, but we have to let you know, for everyone involved, we're trying to protect everyone involved.
Yeah. Well, they don't do that though. They just deflect and they just say that, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And then, but the funniest thing is, like, especially with these military ones where they say that, it's like, well, you guys hired this guy. This guy's a career soldier. Are you saying you hire morons?
Yeah,
it makes them look bad.
Yeah, exactly. Your hiring practices and clearance that you give to these people. You're taking away credibility from the whole establishment and the whole system that is set up that we trust as a national security organization. Like,
he can't tell the difference between a flying alien craft or whatever it may be and tail lights on a car. It's just it's crazy. And the guy involved in this case specifically, the Colonel Hall, he even he went on the record about all this stuff and said that he was debriefed and that he was warned that bullets are cheap. Like they said that to him. It's like,
right. Well, not anymore. You take it away with that logic.
To them
anymore.
it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not really. I'm sure they probably tally each bullet or $1,000 each. They got to get rid of those that money somehow.
Yeah, and when any of our troops are out there and they fire against a combatant, and they fire, and they're like, all right, well, you spent 27 rounds.
Yeah,
like that's gonna come out of your paycheck at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's like $1 million.
Yeah, that's that's $1 million, right? Try not to fire.
Yeah.
Try not to engage the enemy. How about that?
Yeah. There's a lot of really wacky shit around this one. This is a huge one. This is one that's like another one. I would put this I wouldn't put this on the same level as Betty and Barney Hill, but this one, because that one's so personal. But this one is, this has happened. Something clearly happened here again. I mean, this is another one that we could easily do an episode on because there's so much info on this. And then just the weirdo explanations they tried to give, like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Oh, wait, that night the British soldiers were having a bit of fun and they wanted to hoax the American soldiers. It's like, no.
Pretty good hoax, guys.
Yeah. How'd you make the binary code go into the guy's brain like that?
So. But like, well, sleight of hand. No, but oh God. Like I've been working on calming myself down just for my own good, and like I could have just gone nuts there, and I'm just like, you got to dial it back, buddy, just for your own heart's sake. But all right. So on to this last one here, and it's been a personal favorite of mine, friend of the show, me and Murdoch. We always talk about this. It's the Phoenix Lights, man.
Hell yeah.
God, that just going back to like those old Fox, UFO specials and.
Oh, I remember the segment on Unsolved
sightings,
Mysteries.
Yeah, Unsolved Mysteries, sightings, the UFO report.
Yep.
So it's the Phoenix Lights, a huge V-shaped UFO reportedly passed over Phoenix, Arizona, around 8:15 p.m. on the evening of March 13, 1997. The object was described as having 5 spherical lights and was large enough to block out the stars as it flew overhead. Wendigo Rift. People from various locations across Arizona, including Phoenix, reported seeing a V-shaped UFO moving silently across the sky. Around 10 p.m. that evening, the U.S. Air Force dropped slow-falling military-grade flares into the sky. the media captured video of the military exercise, believing that it was connected to the UFO sightings. Some people think that the military deliberately filled the sky with lights to discredit the UFO sightings made earlier in the evening. Former Arizona Governor Fife Singleton, Fife Symington.
Fife Symington.
Is it Symington?
Yeah, I think so.
Fife Symington.
I hate his name, but that's it.
Fife Symington. Like, I don't even want to say that. Later said, I can definitely say that this craft did not resemble any man-made object I'd ever seen, and it was certainly not high-altitude flares because flares don't fly in formation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just off the top of my head, I'm going to go on a couple things here before I pull up the other stuff with it. So, one, multiple VHS camcorders have this, on video. Now, them saying it's flares. One, you see the lights light up in a sequence, showing how large this craft is. Now, this craft, as where it was positioned and where it was seen in multiple places in Phoenix, makes this thing have to be, what is it, like a football field size?
Yeah.
Blocking out stars. This craft's so big, blocking out stars, and it can be seen that big with that many lights in multiple counties. Now, that's just insane. That's insane. Now, also, there's a hero, personal hero of
an amateur pilot.
An amateur pilot / personal hero / greatest American actor of all time. One Kurt Russell was flying in the sky that night, and he saw it. Witnessed it, and reported it to the FAA.
Yep.
He reported it, and they came back. One of the things said, a pilot even reported this sighting, as well as multiple people on the ground. They have reported this, and also a pilot, and Kurt Russell eventually came out on some talk shows and said, I was that pilot. He said, I saw it, and it was wild. And, dude, the Phoenix Lights is just one of those things where it is like Independence Day level size and scale of terrifying. Yep. Just like you go to the David Grush, like him talking about the size of some of these craft that are up there, and the way they can maneuver it's just insane. It's unfathomable to think about it, and like if you could see it in daylight in the size of these things that are maneuvering. It is ultimately terrifying, and that we have video of from VHS at different places and all these things that people have seen this. This, to me, one, is the most credible because Kurt Russell saw it. Two, is just the most terrifying idea of what some kind of otherworldly entity or other dimensional, because we don't know, entity is capable of creating and piloting. Imagine making a skyscraper that can fly. Imagine that. Just like
I'm imagining it, and I'm terrified.
Chew on that for a minute, audience, whoever's listening. That is the scariest thing besides stuff that H.P. Lovecraft writes about. It is the scariest thing to envision and think about something that big that can just hover and just be like, yo, it's a Star Destroyer.
Something like that.
It's a super Star Destroyer.
Yeah. No, it's this is that one where they try to once again where like if you look up the Wikipedia article, it just tells you straight up, these were just airplanes participating in Operation Snowbird, which is a pilot training program of the Air Force. It's like, dude, these were not flares.
No.
Everyone who saw it, they're like, they don't fly in formation. And some guy's like, well, if they got picked up by winds, they could have been flown together. It's like, dude, stop.
Dude, they're buying you lunch for the next 10 years. I get it. But, like, I don't have to believe you. I don't have... Yeah. Like, I've seen the video, dude. Like, I've seen the video.
Yeah, and all of those eyewitness accounts, all the still photographs, all the videotapes, it's insane, man. And it's not and there's a reason why this is towards the end, because this is like the big one, because also Arizona, I mean, it's like, was this a ship coming to Area 51? Like, hey, where's J-Rod?
Yeah. Time to come home, J-Rod. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You said you were taking a week off, like...
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, this stuff, these all of these are the ones that just make your brain spin, because they're just like, dude, what what is going on? Like, that's what you really want to know at the end of the day with these things. You're just like, what is going on? Because it's clearly, I don't know if I would say clearly, but like, it's something's going on here. Like, this is all this stuff going on where people are seeing all these craft. Is it our stuff? Is it alien technology? Is it a combination of the two?
Bro, on this case, this is the one that I'm literally going to say, no, there's no way it's our stuff.
Oh, no, it's too big.
Yeah, something that size, no. Yeah. I would, and oops, sorry. I will, most of the time, I will literally be like, I'll take your side most of the time when you say most of the stuff that we see out there is ours.
Yeah, no, not this one. No.
I know, but like this one is just like, for me, this is something either one, extraterrestrial, two, extra dimensional. It has to be, dude. It has to. Sure. And once again, it is just the scariest of things.
Yeah, because the size.
Yeah, and like, it's like, this isn't Majestic 12 bullshit. This isn't like any of the other. This isn't like Area 51 size craft. This isn't.
It's not city-sized ship.
It's not the one that landed in PA that they thought was like, the Nazi bell. Like,
the Kecksburg incident.
Yeah, the Kecksburg incident. This is a size of a city, and it almost seems just like it's like a warning. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly what I think. Like, I think that this was like, follow along with me if you will. Roswell happens, right? We talked about this last time. Roswell happens. Let's say that's where we got the technology the first time. And according to a lot of people, that is what happened. We got the technology and we're able to reverse engineer from that point back on.
Yes.
Let's say we don't have any really encounters with aliens too much in those intervening years, right?
Right.
But then one day, this thing just shows up over Arizona just to tell them, hey, yeah, you got one of our things.
Yeah. And they're like, we're going to let this one slide.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's it. Yep. They're like, wait, hold on. Here's some fiber optics.
There he is. Attaboy. Waiting for it. They're like, you got our fiber optics. Yeah. That's going to be good for internet, audio, and also fun Halloween and Christmas decorations.
Too.
But yeah, no. Like, you think about it, we haven't had many run-ins with aliens, right? Because their technology is so good, they can capture us. And I go back to what our original theory on our Area 51, John, is they had an accident. Yeah, something happened. It was a 1 in a million accident.
Yep.
And we lucked out.
To put it another way, savor the flavor, because it sure as hell won't happen again.
Yep.
Ice your marbles, Z.
Gotta love a good Tommy Boy reference. And
especially when it's Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, dude. God, Dan Aykroyd. What a just...
Danny Axe.
Dude, I want to high five that guy so bad. Like, you have no idea. Oh, you do. You have more of an idea. Yeah, you have the most idea.
Oh God.
Oh God. Yeah.
I just want to hang out with him, have a meal, and then talk into the wee hours of the night about all this shit.
We start at like a restaurant. Yep. And then it just spills over to some dive bar that they keep open, and we just indulge in Crystal Skull vodka and Ecto Cooler, and do cocaine at some point.
And then when we got to the point where he's like, all right, he's a cool guy, he can hear this. Like, listen, Dan, about the next Ghostbusters movie, there's a couple things I want you to leave in.
Yeah. we get it in writing, Yep. We cut our hands. We're like, we'll sign it in blood, and he. You know what? I appreciate that. Let's go.
Now these this stuff just keeps the UFO stuff just keeps coming up, and it's like everywhere I look, and it's not even that I follow this stuff. It's just, I don't know. It feels like after last year with the disclosure stuff and David Grush,
how are you going to say it?
It's been a year about, so now people are 100% have. Quote unquote discredited him, which is really fucking weird, because at the time they're like, no, this guy is beyond reproach. This is this. It's all, the shit is airtight. And now a year later, he's kind of a jerk off. Actually, he, it's like, well, is he or isn't he?
Yeah.
And
well,
the peasants didn't like it. Let's discredit him.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those, congressmen, congresswomen,
they
had conversations. They went to places with them on both sides.
Oh yeah, I know.
Democrats
It's
and
legit. That
Republicans.
dude, it's all legit. That's the thing.
Yeah. And you saw what they tried to do to him, and he even discussed it with one Rogan, and like, you saw it in his face. They destroyed him for a while.
Yeah.
And he had no recourse but to just they tried to get him to do what his buddy did, kill himself.
Yes. Yep. And like so many others, we won't go down that route right yet. But so many guys have been forced to suicide themselves.
Yep. And it's wild, but it's believable. So like, at the point where you go, oh, this is all crazy. But now at the point of what we know now, like everything is kind of like just like clear as day of what they do.
It's just like an open secret. It's just, or not even an open secret. It's like, yeah, of course that's what they have in those military bases. They're not going to show it. They're only going to show us as much as we're going to see. But like, some slip out here and there, and it's wild, man. It's
and there's
wild.
Dude, there's I think there's literally at least 150 years till we can make a craft that size.
Oh,
maybe
the city size one.
Yes,
like the Phoenix Lights. Okay.
Maybe undercutting our abilities.
Yeah,
and that's funny. While we were talking about that, a huge buzz in my headphones was going off that just went away.
That's it. You better watch out, man.
Yeah.
You've been marked.
God, this episode will make it out if they get me. But no, it's just that's weird. Because it kicked up just around there and now it's completely gone. All electronics are off around here. Hey, sorry guys, you're right. Swampcast does refract off light in Venus, and
it sure does.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. I like I said, I think we're a long way off to do that, and for that, like I said, that was a warning to just whoever's in charge. They're like, we know where the area is. We know where it landed, and you can keep what you want to keep, but we got other stuff that you've never seen.
No, I know, and I remember as a kid, and like I still kind of have the same thought when I look at those videos. It's like, or any of those UFO videos, like, are there actually aliens in there? Like, are we looking at a video of like we can't see them, but there's aliens in there?
Yeah.
I still kind of get those thoughts because I'm like, because that is fucking mind bending.
Yeah.
So
you can imagine something that big too. Like that's like movie style, like
it's Independence Day show.
Yeah. Star Wars. It's like the crew. Yeah. They're fully operational. They, probably like they're globulent, some of them, and like roll around walls and press buttons, like doing cartwheels and shit. Like,
or like District 9, where it's like it's an entire civilization in there.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not seeking refuge here, buddy.
No. They're like, no, we're not going down there. There's fucking animals.
Yeah, fucking simians. What the fuck?
No.
Gross.
No, just like from Men in Black. Edgar calls K Monkey Boy.
Yeah, and the human language is a virus. It's considered a virus.
Yes.
The English
human consciousness is considered a virus.
Right. It's wild. And these are just some of the best, most credible ones that we really like. And expect plenty more because this stuff isn't going anywhere. It's only going to get more hyped up.
No, I'm hoping for another big one soon.
Yeah. Well, guess what, buddy? I think it's coming. And it's funny that what was the one with the diamond-shaped one? That was the
that was the I'm sorry, I clicked my notes off.
Yes, that's fine. But the diamond-shaped one, even with David Grush, he was talking about ones that landed in and kind of assimilated to the ground. They meld kind of the physiology of the ship to the ground.
Yeah, because if we're talking that these things are, have mastered time and space essentially, because that's what they have to do to traverse the galaxy. I was watching a thing about it with that dude, Eric Weinstein. I was watching a thing where he was talking about it, what they would have to have, and he was just spitballing. But I mean, the dude's a physicist. But like, what they would have to be able to do what they're doing is, dude, you can't even. It's like, it's beyond even like the most rudimentary things that we're able to do. It's like we're still using, we're still moving along from little explosions.
Yeah,
like that's what moves our stuff along. Like it's
cars is powered by little explosions. Like shit,
everything is.
Yeah, everything.
Except for even electric cars is still not. That's we can't even.
It's a little bit of lightning.
Kind of
it's a little.
Yeah, it's very rudimentary. We're not bending, space fabric to move along. It's
they said
like
if
Bob
you entered,
Lazar said.
Right, when they entered that craft, they said it was like 4 football field size inside of it. You know what I mean? So it looked like the size of, it was like 10 feet or whatever. And once entered, it was like,
yeah,
the buzzing's back. Anyway, closing statements here, brother.
Closing statements. The truth is out there.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I guess I'll just say I want to believe.
Yeah, so do I, man. I mean, what doesn't that make things just a little bit more, I don't know, exciting?
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more, I don't know, with all the bullshit that's going on in our country, won't go into it, but I don't know. It just seems like if there were aliens, it just make the things going on here not so terrible.
Yeah, right.
For me, at least.
Well, yeah, because that's much scarier than everything else.
No, I don't even find that scary. I don't find aliens scary at all. I actually find that, like, I don't know.
Well,
it's like, this isn't it? Great.
A city-sized ship, I mean. That's what I find.
I mean, that is a terrifying concept.
Right. No, yeah, I know you. I do the same thing where you're like, you ponder about, like, this, we're all on this journey to our own personal end, and like you're like, but you're like, hey, if there's other things out there that are sentient, it's like, well, I'm sure they have their own journey, and we're not so alone in this. It's just
whatever this is.
Yeah, whatever this is. It's not just this walk that we all are born and die alone in,
Right.
So,
no,
didn't mean to get philosophical there.
No, man, how could you not? You start thinking about this stuff long enough, and you got to get down to brass tacks of what it's all about. It's like, there could be these entities that are from beyond time and space, and that is fucking mind bending.
Yeah, and we'll never see it, but
maybe.
Well, all right, guys. For this episode of Other Dangerous Podcast, I've been Ken James.
And I've been Jason McKittrick.
And as always, the spooky evenings. Thank you for listening to Other Dangerous Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerouspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangerous Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.